What's up guys, Houndish here. Today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 news, updates, known issues, things that are broken inside of Destiny 2, including that you can get a Behemoth with infinite life. Well, not health, but no timer, and that means you could essentially run around in the Lawless Frontier for an entire run with a Behemoth, which is pretty bonkers. We'll also talk about updates coming in January, changes and fixes that Bungie have, the conversation about player counts, and a new tool that very accurately tracks all of the players in Destiny 2. Otherwise, free emblems, of which there are many, as well as other secrets, community dramas, and a bunch of other stuff to round up. So, if you guys enjoyed the video, drop us a comment down below. But now let's get into it. The first thing I wanted to speak about here are infinite behemoths in the Lawless Frontier. You may know a little bit about this already, especially it seems possible that you've had behemoths that do not have a timer on them, which essentially means you can run around with the behemoth indefinitely. And there's a video here from the Morro, actually from shortly after when Renegades dropped, which I totally didn't know about, but it seems that they figured out how to actually recreate the behemoth glitch where you can essentially use it infinitely. So in terms of how this works, for some reason, you have to have at least one teammate nearby, so either play in a fire team or you can also do it with matchmade players. But if you activate your Renegade ability and then throw the coin to spawn a behemoth close by to a teammate, but immediately look away, so look down at the floor in the opposite direction or something, for some reason, it very regularly spawns the behemoth with no transport charter, which basically is the timer for how long the behemoth actually lasts. It may be a little bit tricky to replicate, but this method does seem to consistently spawn behemoths that do not have the transport charter timer on it. So obviously you can still take damage in these instances, but behemoths are healable, essentially. So if your health gets low, you can move away from combat, pick up health orbs, whatever, and just generally take it easy. But ultimately, outside of, not being able to get the behemoth through tunnels or to internal spaces, this means that you have an infinite behemoth in the Lawless Frontier, which is pretty ridiculous. Full credit to the Morro for posting the original video that I saw on this. Apparently, it also works in the campaign or other instances where you can actually get into a behemoth by spawning it. So something to take advantage of there, and I'll link Morro's full video down below. Let's get on to a few other Destiny-related things. The Accelerated Assault trait is actually bugged on both Riptide and PSI Eterna. Of course, it's supposed to return ammo, but for a few of the weapons, it doesn't appear to be working correctly, so Bungie are aware of it and hopefully will get it fixed soon. They're also aware of an issue where the Trials shader is not dropping from the Flawless chest as it should be, so Bungie are currently investigating, and again, hopefully, they'll get a fix for that in as soon as possible. That's on top of the lobby balancing thing, which they'd said should be fixed in January. I've seen a few questions from folks trying to get the Wolfsbane catalyst in the game, and if there are some that you can't equip, essentially there's a bug that causes them to be locked behind the weapon's level. So apparently if you get the weapon beyond level 17, you'll hopefully be able to use them. But a separate thing right here, there's a lot of conversation, of course, about player counts, and there's always a bit of drama when people talk about player counts, and especially when they reference Steam charts, because of course, Steam is only one platform for Destiny, or any game, really, that's being referenced a lot of the time. And while one platform can give an indication of the trend of player numbers over time, obviously, it's not 100% accurate as to how many people actually play a game. So, Cbro pointed out on X, they actually have a new site called Post-Game Carnage Report. I will link it down below, but as they say, it's the only site that shows live game-wide concurrent player statistics across all platforms. So on top of that, it also shows recent activity and current top loadouts in the game, which is interesting. And it looks a bit like this, looking at daily activity. For the 7th of January, we can see unique players totaled around 290,000. So over that 24-hour period, that's the amount of unique accounts that actually signed into Destiny 2 for a given amount of time. And to demonstrate that this seems logical, if we look back to the start of December when Renegades launched, this was actually launch day, unique players were nearly 600,000. So that's not concurrent players, the amount of people currently on the game, but the total number of unique accounts that actually signed into D2 in that 24-hour period. So it's a clever tool. I'm guessing they use the API to draw that information down. And as we said, there are other components to it as well. So again, it is linked down below if you want to check it out. Next up, we have a thread that was compiled by Blueberries GG, listing all of the currently available free emblems in Destiny 2. Of course, the sources for these are all kinds of different things, ones that Bungie had given away in TWABs, ARGs, promotional events that have codes that anyone can use, collector's editions, and more. So as we're going through here, you might see one or two that you really like the look of. Plus, there's an additional infographic right here with the actual codes over the emblems, which is incredibly useful. So if you go to bungie.net/redeem, or you could just Google that, I'll link it down below anyway, but if you're signed into your Destiny 2 account, as you probably know, you'll be able to put these codes in and claim them to actually pick up in D2, so don't sleep on those, there are some pretty cool ones. And at this point, we've pretty much unlocked everything in Renegades. All of the Praxic Blade stuff, the dungeon things, Lawless Frontier, titles. I feel like basically everything has been blown open. One thing though, that we are still missing, which is really interesting, is the modified NLS Courier. This is an exotic ship, again with kind of Star Wars theming to it. Let us know in the comment section. Some folks I'd seen before said it looks like a specific ship from a specific Star Wars series or something. I've totally forgotten what was said, but if you know, give us an idea in the comment section. The interesting part though is that this is linked to Renegades specifically, so it's the Renegades content, not the season stuff, not Eververse, not some other source that we typically see listed. It's a Renegades item, but nobody has it. So did Bungie simply forget to give it a drop source? Will it be for some kind of promotional activity that Bungie have in the future? Or could there be another secret hiding somewhere in Renegades? It'd be really awesome if we discovered some kind of secret that dropped us this ship at this point in time. I'm probably being hopeful, just based on how many of these kind of surprise things we actually get in D2 these days. They're not very common, but it would be awesome. If you have any leads or speculation on it, give me your thoughts in the comment section. But like I said, for the moment, nobody owns this ship, at least according to light.gg. The final mention, I'm not going to go into it loads because I actually don't know a ton about it, but on X, there's been an account called D2 Hacker Report, who basically reveals, certain players are hacking in the game by way of screenshots, post-game reports, and various other bits of media. But there's been a bit of drama from PvP players in the last few days, arguing about who runs D2 Hacker Report, and apparently it's a very well-known former cheater, or someone who has previously confirmed that they actually cheat in Destiny by way of specific cheat tools, but also some kind of network manipulation that allows you to match against players with lower skill ratings than you and all kinds of crazy things that I don't really know a lot about, but it's a hilarious concept that someone who's dedicated their time recently to exposing cheaters actually may historically be one of the most well-known cheaters in the community. I guess though, if it's true, then they probably have specialized knowledge of how to detect cheaters remotely, which would make sense, so pretty bonkers stuff. Otherwise, yes, this week we had the first TWID, which didn't give us much to go on regarding the live game for Destiny in January. There was a lot of anticipation that Bungie would say something more exciting about the future, some kind of unrealistic expectations for a roadmap on the first week of 2026, which most of us probably didn't expect realistically, but I do agree, it wasn't ideal that Bungie didn't even give us, a "this is happening in January" line or something like that. It was very quiet. Hopefully next week will be better. Share your thoughts below, but for today, that is the news. If you've enjoyed the video, a rating really does help us out. Be sure as well to hit subscribe and I'll keep you up to date with more content. But otherwise, thanks for watching and I hope you guys have an awesome day.